Welcome to our second session of our today's lecture. In the first session, we got introduced to XSS attack, and we saw how it can also become another interesting security issue, whereby a person who attacks a website can have ability to display anything on our website, okay, or execute different scripts on our website. So that's where we are today. So I reached at the level of looking at different categories of XSS attack, cross-site scripting attack. So let's proceed. We say that there are two types. There are two main types. One is called non-persistent attack, what we call reflected attack, and another one is called persistent attack, or what we call stored XSS attack. Then non-persistent XSS attack. If a website, if a website with the reflected behavior takes user inputs, then attackers can put JavaScript code in the input. So when the input reflected back, JavaScript code will be injected into the website page from the website. It will be injected into website page from the website. So here what you're trying to say that if your website is vulnerable to cross-access attack and then you allow users to have or to give inputs to your website, that can lead it to be prone to access attack, whereby users can have ability to display anything that they want on your website. So if that attack is not going to be stored on your website, or it's going just to be temporary, that after someone refreshes, go off, so someone changes the link, it will disappear. That's what we call a non-persistent attack. So non-persistent attack works like that, whereby someone will target a website, and when you share the link, the user will be able to see things that they were not supposed to see, or things that will not mean them to do what to see. In our practicals, we will demonstrate this and we see how it can happen. But we'll do practicals towards towards the end of the lecture. So non-persistent attack. This is an example. Assume that we have that kind of a website whereby we are accessing the information through the URL. If you never knew, now you should know that there is a way how you can pass information through the URL, and then you display it on your website or make it use on your website. Let me give you an example of how information can be passed in URL and why it is very handy and how it can become a problem. Assume that okay, let us not even go very far. Let us look at Zoom. So Zoom, it has only one domain. Okay, it has only one domain. Let me see. Zoom.us. Okay, that's one of its domain. Okay, but it has so many customers. Among the customers that Zoom has is Makerere University. So it has many customers, but with one domain. So what does it mean? It means that if Makerere University want to have a lecture on Zoom, so they'll have to create what we always call a link. But that link will have only one parent One parent domain, which is zoom.us. But Makerere will have its own link, Kiambag will have its own link, IUI will have its own link. So different universities will have their own links, but on the same domain. So how can Zoom be able to do? Who is that, please? Uh, can you mute, guys, if you have nothing to say? I'm saying that now, since Zoom is supporting maybe so many universities, assume that Chambogo, they have their own link, etc. So how can Zoom know that this link is for Chambogo, this link is for Makerere, this link is for what? Is for IU, etc. How can it know? Yet they are all using the same domain, zoom.us. So how can they know? They can only know if they can manage to pass unique information through that link. So ability to pass unique information through a link or through a URL is what we call uh, the get method, or what we call get method. If you still remember, in the previous class, we looked at get and post. So a get is a way how you can code something and put it into URL, and then you'll be able to access it. That is how Zoom can know, hey, this link is for what? Is for Makerere. This link is for Chambogo. This link is for whatever. Through passing the information using the link. If we have a look at our link of Zoom, if I can copy it here. Okay, it is here. Can you see it? Let me create here a new text. So this is our link of Zoom. So all links of Zoom have only one thing in common. Okay, one thing in common. Okay, this one, zoom.us. Okay, so this is what we call a domain. If you didn't know, so it's a domain. Then maybe this is for the country, etc. But the main point here is, after this domain, there are other more things that are being passed through this domain. For example, you see stroke this. For example, you see question mark and then PWD equals to, and then there is this kind of what? This kind of information. So if you are not a programmer, or if you are just not a serious developer, like, you might have never even observed that a Zoom link comes with all these things. So this information that is being passed on the link, this information is what we call get. So someone can, based on the fact that you can use your link to communicate or to pass information. So someone can, based on that fact, and use that fact to attack your website. So for you, you meant this maybe on your website, maybe it is, maybe you're displaying different users, their profiles, and then you put this. Then the person, for them, they know this, that someone can, you're communicating through this link. So for them, instead, they start writing their what? Their JavaScript here. So when a user clicks on your link, who doesn't have idea of what the link is, he just clicks on it. But but what he don't know, or what he don't know, is that he has taken even more information from what? From the attacker. And then he ends up having a bug, that, I mean, carrying a link which has a bug, or which has malicious code attached to it. So the links that you see which are very long, I hope you've ever seen that. A link which takes like 3 lines. In most cases, it will have some information that are malicious. And we're going to demonstrate this. But what I want you to understand at this moment is, we can use the link to communicate more information. Just like what I told you, Zoom, it has only zoom.us. But on this zoom.us, it is supporting different universities in Uganda, different universities in East Africa, different universities in Africa, different universities in America, different universities in the world, even different personal links, even different companies. But all of them, they are going through .us. But the only different thing that it can tell, hey, this is maybe a tech company, or this is Zoom for maybe for a specific person, it can tell through the get. Okay, and we're going to show you how we can communicate using link. We're going to demonstrate that practically. So it can only, maybe this gives a unique ID for what? Makerere. And then gives another unique ID for Kiambogo. So for you also, maybe you may learn that basic idea and start maybe giving a unique link, and then you see things are working properly. And then an attacker, instead of putting this link, he changes and writes his JavaScript. Okay. Like this. Okay. So he put here his JavaScript, and then he closed his JavaScript tag. So if you are a not serious developer, so this JavaScript will end up executing, and he share your link, okay, will end up executing in your website. And then once a JavaScript executes in your website, it means that person can do anything on your what? On your website. So I hope you're getting the idea. I know you may not understand everything in the first class, but I'm trying to be slow, I'm trying to be elaborative so everyone can understand. So everyone cannot confuse XSS with SQL injection. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm trying to be a little bit slower. Okay, so you don't need to confuse the two. That's why I'm trying to emphasize. So that is the whole story. So if you never had this lecture, or if you never attended such kind of lecture, so what does it mean? You will just go ahead and write your own project and then start doing this kind of things. And then a person who knows, he does what? He just trick you and put the script in the link. And when the user clicks on the link, the other script executes on your website. So once the script executes successfully on the website, boom, that person can do anything to your what? To your website on the user side. I hope we are together. Are we? Can I get feedback? Are we together, guys? Or I'm just confusing. Are we together? Hmm?
Understand.
Are we understanding, guys? Some feedback, please.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Let me hope. Let me hope that yes is a yes. All right, we proceed. Great, if you are understanding. Now, the attacker. So we say that this is a kind of a link. We have also even looked at such kind of a link. Use Zoom. So you shouldn't know that this is just a theory. Just like the other guy told you, this is practical. Okay, so like there you had the other comment. Who was playing the comment? I don't know. He was saying that this is practical. So don't think it is just theory. This is practical because you can see even Zoom is doing the same shit. He's doing the same things, right? He's doing the same things. So it means that also you, when you start making web application, you'll have no way to go through but doing the same thing. But if you dig it with carelessness, then you're inviting attackers to attack your website if it is having sensitive information. So you can see Zoom, it has something like this with a question mark and then something and then equal to and then something. Can you see? Same format. So now the attacker sends the following URL to the victim. See? So instead of putting this and he puts his own one. Just like they always say, you say with what? With SQL injection. Instead of putting what you are supposed to see to put, the person puts there his own things. Okay? And then he shares that link. So once the victim clicks on this link, a HTTP get, what we talked about the get, will be sent to the website, okay, the web server, while it returns and continues to the results with the origin input in the page. The input here is a JavaScript code which runs and gives a pop-up of a message to a victim's browser. So once you can successfully do that, it means that you have successfully accessed someone's website and do what? And do cross access what? Processes attack. And we are going to demonstrate it practically. Proceed. So attackers Okay, now this is another example. I want to finish this theory part and then we go into practicals at once, okay? So attackers directly send their data to a target website or the server, which stores the data in a persistent storage. So this is the second type of what? Of cross-access attack, persistent access attack, or what we call stored access attack. In this case, the attacker will not target just only your browser, but will target even the server to see if we can store information maybe on your database or on your server. So when a user visits your website, you don't need first the link. It just goes to your normal website, and then because your website is storing malicious code, you're able to execute things that a person is not supposed to see. This problem even happens on WordPress. I don't know whether you've ever seen WordPress. I don't know those who do WordPress, who do WordPress designing, website designing using WordPress. I don't know whether you've ever seen some code that you don't understand in the index file, like encrypted code in the index file of WordPress, index.php. So if you see that kind of file, that is a what? It's a stored XSS attack. So that happens, but it happens for people who have really gone deep into WordPress. And I hope at least you have maybe like one person. You find things that are really, really encrypted that you cannot understand, and you know the one who put them there. So those kind of things, when the website, where user visits a website, when they go into the web browser, it will go as a malware, and then they mutate and display anything that you did not want, that you don't intend. They may not even display. They may be acting what in the background and do their own things. So that is a problem already on WordPress. I've also faced it some different, I mean, like a few days or different times. Okay, I've faced that kind of what problem, whereby most especially plugins, they will put malware into your what into your source code. If the website later sends the stored data to other users, it creates a channel between the user and the attacker. So when the user will visit the website, instead of you having the full control of the user, the website will create a background thing or a background channel whereby he can access information from the user. So instead of sending information to you, he's the one accessing the information. It can be credit card, it can be password, it can be what. So when someone visits your website, you note most especially this processing attack. It's not the website owner who is the victim. Most especially it's the what? The user. So the information will start going to the what? To the wrong place, or where it was not intentionally intended to go to. So this is an example. User profile in a social network is a channel or as is set by one user and viewed by another user. So someone can use that way to do what? To display another person's what? Another profile. So attackers directly send the data to a target website server, which stores the data of the persistent storage. Assume that you're storing profiles of users. So the person, instead of targeting the link, he just targets the what? The website. I mean the server. If the website later sends the uh, stored what? Stored data to other users, it creates a channel between, I've already explained this, between what? Between the user and the what? And the attacker. So here is an elaboration, okay? So an attacker will, you see this time, the other time he was just, let me show you. So if we ask you to design or to draw a simple diagram that demonstrates non-persistent attack, I'm taking you step by step, process by process. Okay, if we ask you in the exam, draw a diagram that demonstrates cross-site attack, I mean non-persistent attack. So this is what we'll expect you to draw. You may not draw this exactly, but we'll expect you to draw something like this. That shows things came through from the attacker. They did not touch anything on the server. They proceeded into the what? To the browser of the user. That is what we call non-persistent. So remember that it may come in your exam and you should be able to differentiate. So this time this person is, the attack is just targeting the what? The user directly without targeting the website. Then if we proceed to what? To stored procedure, you can, stored persistent attack or stored XSS, you can see this time the person is not targeting the user, the person is targeting the server. So the dark code or the black code or the dangerous code or the malware or malicious code will go to the server and then get stored there. So when the user visits it with the legit link, the code that is malicious, it comes to what? To the what? To the user. So that kind of doing things what we call the stored uh, attack, or what we call the reflected attack. So you should be able to differentiate the two. Okay. The other one is just targets the user directly. The other one targets the server and then to the user. Non-persistent attack. So I've already explained it. What's wrong with my slides? Going backwards. Okay. Okay, I've explained this. We say that a person will target, or the attacker will target the server, and then the information from the server will proceed to the user's browser. That's what we call the stored excess attack. Then let's look at the damage that can be caused by excess attack. Web defacing. So JavaScript code can use DOM APIs to access the DOM nodes inside the hosting page. So this JavaScript the JavaScript, if someone can successfully execute JavaScript on on a website, it means that they can even use it to manipulate your DOM or document object model, or what the user sees on their browser, and that can really be dangerous. Example, JavaScript code can change news article to something fake, or change some pictures on the website. Imagine you post a certain news article and then person changes it. You say this information and the other person uses JavaScript through XSS to change it totally. Maybe let's say that the president has communicated a certain thing A, and then someone uses XSS attack and use it to communicate something B. Or your company, you're the website developer or website maintainer for the company posts something X, and the attacker changes that information, posts something, and make it display something Y. You want your website to display a certain picture, maybe for refugees, and it is maybe showing a totally opposite picture of people chilling. So it can really be what? Really, really be misleading. Just up to what you can imagine. These are just up my imagination. But you can also imagine if someone is able to display something that did not intend on your website, porn, anything. So can you imagine? It can really be dangerous. Okay, spoofing requests. So the injected JavaScript code can send HTTP request to the server on behalf of the user. That's what we call spoofing. Okay. So, for example, you ask the user to enter their phone numbers. So instead of the user entering his phone number when he's submitting, so the JavaScript, it changes the phone number and put his phone number, and then he sent to your website. So for you receive, the data has come to our website, but while the data that has come to your website is not really the correct data. Okay, someone gave his phone number, but the attacker changes and put his own phone number. Maybe it is a system that related to money. Someone puts maybe a specific figure, and then the attacker changes it and put his own figure through the JavaScript and then sends it to the server. Let us say maybe attack a university system. So when the bursar puts maybe and that you paid maybe like 600,000, then for you add a zero using cross-access attack. So when you click on submit, you add a zero behind and then become 6 million. Then you come and claim for your what? For your balance. So that is all possible by use of what? Of access attack. So it is up to what you can imagine. Okay. So stealing information, the private data, this is self-explanatory. You can steal information. So someone, when they are entering their card, so for you, you've written your JavaScript code is there in background, seeing he enters the card number, the CVV card, the CVV code, etc. So for you, you have a JavaScript in background there, recording. When you click on submit, you send to your server using JavaScript. So you'll have stolen information. You can steal so many things. When someone is browsing things that you're not supposed to see, you're able to see them using JavaScript that came through access attack. So as long as someone is able to execute JavaScript on your website, just know he can do anything that your website can do. What can do? Okay, so it is that much dangerous. So self-propagation, XSS worm, what we call SAMIS worm. So SAMIS worm is a cross-site scripting worm. When I say worm, I mean like a munyore. I don't know. You know what's meant by worm, right? The worms, they are just like malicious code, okay? So there's a worm called the SAMIS worm, which is a cross-site scripting worm that was designed to propagate across the social media network site, which was called MySpace by Sami Kamkar. That's an Indian guy. So this guy, he designed a what? An XSS attack script that was designed to target MySpace MySpace platform. If you still remember MySpace, I don't know whether I also used MySpace. So MySpace was like a Facebook. So it is a Facebook before Facebook, right? So someone designed a script that attacked that MySpace, and they named it his name. So using Samism, not only visitors of Sami's profile be modified, their profile can also be made to carry a copy of Sami's JavaScript code. So when the infected profile was viewed by other, and then the code further spread. So this one was in when you visit to see someone's profile. So he had written his JavaScript and put on his what? On his link. So he had written a way that when you also visit it, he'll also attach it on your profile. So there's another person who visits your profile, he'll attach it also on your what? On your profile. And then the whole thing keeps on what? Keeps on spreading. So that was called what? Samism, which was a dangerous exit attack on the MySpace or the social media of those days. So challenges, how can JavaScript code produce a copy of itself? So to type them approach, so one way is using the document object model approach. Okay, JavaScript can get a copy of itself directly in the DOM via the DOM APIs. Okay, so another way is through the link approach, the one that we demonstrated. So JavaScript can be included into a web page via a link using SRC attribute on the what? On the script. So at the end of the day, so someone will even be able to put SRC attribute in what? In the script of your link. So when you load that link, it comes with another external link that will load another person's JavaScript in your project. So it can really be that much dangerous. So this is a diagram that can demonstrate self-propagation worm, or what we call SAMIS worm. So you visit the attack's website, you get a copy. So you get a copy on your profile, and another person visits your website, you also get a copy. And another person visits that person's website, and at the end of the day, the person was able to disorganize the MySpace social media of that day because it was manipulating different people's profile like that. Okay. So DOM, what we call document object model. How can we do that to propagate or to manipulate different profiles? So DOM organizes the document, the content into a tree or what we call nodes using DOM API. When you say DOM, we mean the document that is on a web in a web browser. Okay. So using DOM APIs, we can access each node. So the website, the web browser present things in what? In form of a tree. So if we're able to use the DOM, we can access each node, and that's how we write SSL. So sorry, that's how we write CSS. We can target any kind of node using what? Using the DOM APIs. If a page contains JavaScript, it will be stored as a what? As an object tree. So we can know that the DOM node can contain the what? The code. We can use the DOM node API to get the code from what? From the node. So if you write JavaScript, you can access an attribute that is inside the what? Inside the what? Inside the HTML element. You can as well change it using what? Using JavaScript. Okay. And then every JavaScript node can be given a name and then use this document.get element by ID and then say API find. So this is how we can target something what on the JavaScript. In a document object model on the website. So the API can be used. That's what we call that's what we refer to. Uh, the using the API of DOM to access a what? A certain node in a website or in a web browser. So how can we prevent? So there are two ways we can use DOM to demonstrate Sammy's worm, or we can use the link or the URL to demonstrate Sammy's worm.
Excuse me, sir.
So yes,
Sorry for taking you back, but can you please explain once again the Sammy's?
I'm saying that so this person had successfully inject SQL into his own profile. So we say that his idea was when you visit his profile, you should also be able to carry a malicious code. Okay, and there we say that there are two different. And once when another person visits your website, you can also carry a malicious code. So there are two ways of how that one can be demonstrated. The first way we said we can demonstrate it using what? Using a link, a URL, and I've already demonstrated that already. Whereby we say that a URL can carry multiple information and can also carry a script. So that one already demonstrated it, and we're going to do it practically. So the second way is basing on the fact that JavaScript. Basing on the fact that a website is in a web browser is presented in form of a what? For example, this one, okay, is presented in form of a tree, and that tree or the nodes in the website we can access them. So you see, this is a website. Hope you can see my browser. So if I right click and then I say inspect, right click and say inspect, you'll be able to see that we're able to everything here is in form of what? In form of a parent and a child. Okay, so we have a HTML and everything. So and it begins with the what? With the HTML, which is the parent tree, and then comes with to the head and then to the body. So it means that this one, it provides us a simpler way to do what? To access different nodes in this document. So we can use JavaScript to do what? To access these different nodes. So the Sammy's worm, for him, he could put JavaScript. And what we're saying that inside this tag or inside this tag, you can also be able to do what? To write a JavaScript, as you can see in this property. So for Sammy's code, he was not putting the link. In the second way, he was not putting the link in. He was just putting the script into the URL, but he was finding a way how he could put the script into these what? These parameters of HTML. So for you, when you visit the website, you don't see anything. But the reality is you are able to access this using the DOM API, whereby the DOM API, you can use this example that I've given you to access a specific, this one, okay, document.get element by ID, you can get by class. So to access a specific element in a what? In a tree. So it was basing on that, and then you are able to do what? To manipulate people's what? People's uh, profiles. So you could not see the code if you are on the interface, but the code was being transmitted through the what? Through the backend or through the HTML by use of the DOM what? The DOM API. So you can attach your script here, and when it's being executed, it will do what? It will run as a what? As a JavaScript. So how we can prevent XSS attacks? So one way is through validating the inputs. So as we have learned that the most problems of XSS attacks, or the most problem of security will come with input. When you give the user ability to put something as an input, then it means that you'll have given him ability even to do what? To manipulate your website, or that was not there. Your application as what was not there originally. So if you allow someone to submit information to your website, so it means that your website is going to be kind of dynamic, and you don't validate this information. So people can use that to do what? To exploit you, as you're going to demonstrate practically. So what do you do to prevent that? So you should have to be very careful and prevent things, and check the inputs before executing them. For example, if you are aware of scripts, that is where we've talked like cross-site scripting, if you're now aware about it. So what does it mean? When you're writing your next application, you must know that someone can write JavaScript and pass it into my URL. So how can I limit it? So you have to think now. If someone if in a link that I'm expecting maybe an integer, someone writes some words, I should first check before I do that, and then I do it, and I maybe stop it. If maybe I'm expecting maybe some words and someone is writing script tags, then it means that you have to be aware of that and stop it before you do what? Execute that input. So you have to validate the input before executing them. So the next thing is encoding. Okay. So as you have seen, we have learned that this cross-access attack, its main target is on what to show the user or what the user sees. So it means that even though maybe someone has successfully penetrated into your HTML, so when you're displaying this data, it is better for you to encode the characters, and I'll show you how you can encode different characters. Characters like less than sign, greater than sign, those characters can be harmful to HTML because HTML is already using them. So if you don't encode the characters, so someone can successfully put his characters that are going to mess with the HTML, and the users will end up seeing different things. So when you're displaying your HTML, it is better you encode. So if it is less than sign, it should be encoded as a less than sign, not as just a what? A character that is less than sign. So another thing is using the CSRF token. So these tokens are those who have ever done Laravel, those who have ever programmed using Laravel. So they come automatically with Laravel, whereby you send them on the server. Okay, the time is up, so in bonus, but you still have time, no problem. So these CSRF tokens, they're just simple logic. When someone is requesting your website on your web or from your web, when someone is requesting a web page from a website, let us say someone has come to home page. What you do, you send something in the header. If you know what you call header, header is another dimension that you can use to send uh, information to the browser, whereby a user will not see what we call headers. Let me show it to you here. So you can learn. Okay. Okay. This is one of the website. Okay. So if you come to the website and then come to inspect, and then you come to something called, I mean, you come to inspect and then come to network, I think, yeah, network, and then you click on, let me refresh here so you can record it. So you'll see this is the record that has come. So you click on the request that has you just refreshed. So you'll see all the details. How have I reached here? Let me come again. I right click on the website and then inspect and then come to network and then come to what? To network, and then I refreshed. So when I refreshed, I was able to see how things are being loaded into my what? Into my website. So if I click on this first request on the main request, I'll be able to see details about it. So if you're a user, you just only see these things, right? But the reality is there are so many things that have been sent in background. Among them, this is the response that a user is seeing. So they'll give you here more information. To send cookies. So these are the cookies. And then among important things that it will send what we call headers. So headers is the detailed way. So, so headers is the information from the server that is being sent. I mean, the information that is being sent to our browser from the server. So we never see that if we are not programmers. Okay. So here you can send something to the what? To the browser. Okay. So this is what this has sent to me. It has sent me the request, the URL, then the method, the status code, then the address, etc. Okay. Refer policy. So you see, this is what we are talking about. Strict origin policy. That's what we're talking about today. Okay, so it has sent so many things to my browser, but for me, I was able to see these things. So one thing that we are trying to talk right now, then these are called headers. So if you didn't know headers, just learn it today that you can send something to the browser using headers. So one thing that we're talking about right now is the cross SRF attack. I mean cross SRF token. So you can send this CSRF token to the what? To the user. And when the reason why you're sending this token to the user is when the user is submitting, again, you'll have to send that token back. So you'll compare and see, does this token come from the website that we sent or not? So if it does not, if it's not the same, you can stop the user. So you'll know that they have tampered with your what? With your URL. So you can see Laravel, it puts that automatically, most especially when you're doing what? When you're dealing with what? With form. It will have to send a, a what? It will have to send a CSRF token that is unique to the browser. So when the browser refreshes or when the browser sends back the request, I mean the response, it will first check, is the token that has come back the same that we sent. So if token is not the same, you'll see the page written page expired. So if you have ever dealt with Laravel or any other website and they see the website is displaying page expired, just know that the token that has been sent back is not valid. So they are assuming that you want to tamper with the URL, you want to tamper with data, and you want to perform what? Cross-site scripting. So that is when you see something called maybe page has expired. Okay. So you can either do it manually by yourself. So when someone requests a website, I mean a page, you put something in the header. You can as well put in the URL, but if you put the URL to look crazy, then someone can tamper with it differently. I mean simply. So what you do, you put it in the header and make it there in background. So when someone submits the form, maybe or submits anything, you check, is the request, I mean the ID that I sent or this token that I sent still the same, or it is coming from our server. So if it is not the same, you stop immediately. Why? You know that someone else has done what? Has tampered with your what? With your URL. So those are called CSRF token. So it's just like a handshake. You send something back and expect something the same to come back. So another one is content security policy. So you can implement this one to restrict sources which a web page cannot load. Can load. This can help prevent cross-site scripting attacks as well as what? As other attacks. So, or clickjacking. So this one is there is a way how you can do it, and you don't allow, you limit domains that can display data on your what, on your website. For example, if it is your own domain that is having everything, so you write that logic, and then it will only show information from your domain. So if anything comes from different domain, it will do what? It will block it. So secure coding practices. So when you're coding, of course, that's why you're paying to learn these things. If you just wake up tomorrow and start coding without having these extended lectures, what does it mean? It means that you wouldn't be aware of these problems. Okay, so you'd write things while they have these vulnerabilities. So, but because you've learned today, you now know, or you now remembered about this, how this can be an issue. So next time you write your code, make sure that you take care of what? Of XSS attack. So you have to keep your software updated, and you better use HTTPS to avoid XSS attack. So these are two are self-explanatory. So before you come to summary, let us go and do short practicals, and I show you how XSS attack can be done. And then we come here and finalize with our last slide. It's just going to be a simple elaboration. I think we can load our previous project. What was its name? I still remember. My bank, right? Okay. So let me put here PHP on top here just. So I'm going just to use to demonstrate. Okay. So I'll zoom so you can see things clearly. And then I will go ahead and open this into our web page by simply saying localhost stroke what? Stroke my bank. Okay. So here we are. You can see simple text. Now, members, I want you to be very attentive. I know you're tired, but you still have 1 hour. But if we finish here, we will just call it a day because we have finished the main topic. But according to the time for the lecture, we still have 60 minutes. But we're not going to take more than 10 minutes to conclude. So be very attentive and learn something, okay? Now, this is our simple what? Our simple website. So our simple website, right? So I want to show you the first thing, get. What is meant by get and how to make use of get. Okay. So assume that we have our array here with the names of people or with people's profiles. Okay. Whereby the first name is John Doe. The second name is Jane Doe. And the third name is Julian Doe. And the fourth is Janet and Joy and Julius. Okay. Then lastly, John. So that is, let us say maybe this is our data from database. Okay. John. This is John. Okay. So members, I hope you're following. Okay, we are about to finish. Don't worry. I know it's boring, but please just pull your energy back and finish this. Okay, because I want to elaborate something that can be important to you. Anyway, are we there? I wouldn't be teaching myself alone. Are we there, guys?
We, we are there.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Yeah, we are there.
hey, those are gentlemen. Some ladies. Hmm? Some ladies. You know what we are fighting?
We are here. We are there.
You're there, eh? You're following.
Yes. Yeah, we're trying.
Okay, that is good. Okay, so don't despair. We are about to finish. So I'm demonstrating here something. So this is my, let us say this is just data from database. Now I want to first show you the first thing that you can even communicate using the link. So this is our domain. Let us assume this is our domain, right? This is our domain. Localhost, local my bank. So I want to display a user depending on what has come from the domain. So if you want to communicate through the domain, like the way I showed here, how Zoom is communicating, how Zoom is telling different things that this is Makerere, this is Chambogo, this is what, okay? How Zoom is able to communicate like the way you're seeing here. If you want to communicate, yet you're using the same domain, okay? Yet you're using the same domain. If you want to communicate that way, it is very important by that. Very, very important, okay? So if you want to communicate that way, you'll have to use what we call the get method. So I want to show you how you can do that. So this is our main domain, whereby if you come, it just shows you our simple website. So I want us to pass here the ID of what you need to see or whose profile you need to see. I'm doing it at a small scale, but what you should know, you can do it even at a very large scale. So if you want to pass the ID of what you want to see, you just simply put here question mark. So everything that you're going to write here after question mark, it will not change anything in the link. So let me copy this link as it is here. Let me put it here, I think. Okay, let me copy it as it is and then put it in the browser. You will see it will not change anything. You see, everything is still the same. Everything is still the same. So, but if you don't put a question mark, if you don't put question mark, can you see? If I don't put question mark, I write like this, and then I go and run this link. So you'll see this link will not be found. Okay. So what do we learn here? We learn something that after question mark, you are able to pass anything, and that thing will not change anything on your link. So that's something that you should know, that everything after question mark, you can write something. So after question mark, someone can write here his script. So it can be important, it can be dangerous, both way. How important? That's beginning important. So we can use this one to communicate. Assume that this is maybe a student results page where you want to show students results. Okay, and all of them you want to show them using the same domain or the same endpoint. So you need to know that this time it is maybe a parent of John who wants to see the result of his kid. This time it's the parent of Julian who wants to see the result. How will you know that? You will know that by passing a what message here, okay, after question mark. So you just simply put question mark after your link. So all of them, they'll lead to this page. And then after question mark, you start communicating. So how do you communicate? There's just a simple syntax, a very simple syntax, whereby you put question mark begin at the beginning. So you can say maybe ID like this, and then put equal sign. It is a key and a value. ID equal sign maybe 1. So it means that this is ID of 1. So if you want to pass more information, you can as well pass this more information by putting and. So after first question mark, you can put and. Maybe ID this and name equals to Jane, and maybe sex equals to female, and maybe city equals to Barara. So you can pass as much as you want. So if I visit this link, I'll get the same website. But what you should know, there is more information. So the question is, how do you collect this information from the what? From the link. So I'm going to show you how you can collect this information from the link. Okay? So to collect that information from the link, you use a method called get. I know those who already know, they are just seeing me like I'm wasting their time, but I'm sorry. I want just all of us to be on the same page, right? Yeah, if you already know these things, you just say, this guy is just a joker. But I want all of us to be on the same page. So what should I do? Okay, so I have to demonstrate everything, right? So here I want to collect this information that comes through from here and display it, okay? So you just simply put echo pre-tag, okay? So if you want to collect the information that has come from this link, you use what we call get method. So you just simply put print underscore r and then put dollar sign underscore get in capital letter and then put a semicolon. So by doing like this, you'll be able to access everything that has come through the link. So I save, I come and refresh. Can you see? ID equals that, J equals this. Yeah. But this gives us, it is very beautiful that you can communicate through the link, but still it has some disadvantages that we're going to look at. So what does it mean? It means that if I want to communicate to this website, I don't even need to go into code. I can just simply come to this URL and change this one. Instead of 1, I put 2. Can you see? It has changed. So instead of Jane, I put maybe Juliet. Oh, I put Joan. I'm coding this from the link. So it has changed in the website. So someone can write his script here and it will be executed here. So that means that I can access the ID. Let's say that I want this ID. So I can put here, maybe I can remove these others around them. But that's the whole point. That is how you can use the link to communicate or to talk or to pass information. So if I say I pass here ID, so what does it mean? It will only show me the ID. So let us say I want to display a person according to the ID. So I can just simply say echo names and I specify. So inside here, I put the ID. But you know the ID is coming through the gate, like this, gate and ID. So what does it mean? It means that when the ID will be changing in our link, this one will also be changing. So if I refresh, you see Joe and Do. Let me even put the I. Okay, no problem. Like this. Okay. So if I come and put here, maybe instead of 2, I put 1. It will show me Jane Do. If I put maybe 3, it show me Janet Do. If I put 4, it show me Joy Do. Okay, like that. So the whole point is you can access that information that has come from the link, and then you use it, in your project. So Zoom, what it does, it first gets this PWD and then it checks from its database. Do we have anyone who has this link of PWD? Yes, it is Makerere. Then it's able to display things of Makerere through the link. But if you have the link of Chambogo, you can just change this thing and then it will also show maybe for Chambogo, etc. So by that, you can effectively use one domain to do so many things. Zoom has one domain, but it's providing for so many universities. So also when you think on your next project, be creative. When you're creating your software, don't create software like when you sell to another university, you create for them a special domain. When you sell for other university, you create for them a special domain. No, deliver it as a service. This is what you call software as a service. One domain, one link, one server, one thing, but different companies. So it delivers a what? As a service. So it is very, very effective. Otherwise, if you didn't have this knowledge, what would you do? You'll put here makerere.zoom.com, jambogo.zoom.com, whatever.zoom, so it can be painful. But here, just play with the ID, and then you're able to know what to display. Okay. So if you are not a programmer at home, try this. You'll find it really beautiful. So okay, so now we know what's meant by get. Now we know the use of get. Now let us see the dangers of get if you're an amateur. Okay, so the first dangerous thing that you may not know about get. So here I'm doing it as a baby. I'm just treating it like a baby, okay? But if someone come and put this in my link, press enter. Can you see? An error. An error has occurred. So an error can mean so many things. Right now we see that just an error. But an error has occurred. That's a very big point. So as an error has done what? Has occurred. Why? Because I put something that the programmer did not what? Did not expect. You get? I put something that the programmer did not expect and the programmer was careless. Ah. So what was I supposed to do? I was first supposed to see if really this is an integer. First of all, I was supposed to see if an ID is there. Okay, let me show you, for example, how to fix this. You see, if I put here, so for example, I could just, that is an error. So if I wanted to do this, I could first check, okay, this is the right way. An error can mean so many things, but I don't want to explain it. So an error, I can first check, is it set? If is set, I first check if there is an ID read in the gate. Okay, so I check if it's not set, I can stop the project from here. I say ID not found or not set. Okay, so that is the best way. So if there is no ID, let us say someone did not send an ID, I do like this, ID not found. But if this one is not there, if condition is not there, what do you mean? What do you expect? You see, we have two errors. So that is how a careful programmer will do. First check, is this thing from external, the gate, is it set? Because someone can unset it. That's number one. Number two, this person is giving us garbage. So we have to clean. We're expecting integers, you see? This array can be accessed by what? By an integer. So I want to clean everything. I want first clean. Okay. So to clean, we have what we call typecasting. Typecasting means that you removing unnecessary things and remain with something that you really want. So I want an integer, but this person has sent me garbage. Okay. So I have to get the ID. So I say ID equals to, so I'm going to typecast. To typecast to an integer, just simply put int and then you put what you get. Okay, so like this one. So that is, or you can check this if is integer, you see. You can as well first check like that. So I can do that like that. All that are good practices. So I check if is not integer, die only int required. That is also another way you can do it. Okay, so I'm checking if someone sends something that's not an integer. You see, only integers are required. So if I send something like 2, like 1, you see, it's not an integer, this will always be a string. Okay, so that is it. So another way you can typecast it. So typecasting, that's one also another, but this one will work on post only, but on get they treat everything as string. So another way you can typecast it. Okay, so typecasting, it means that you're forcing it to be an integer. So if I put here, let me put here echo, let me put here maybe die. Okay, so if I come here and refresh, you see it has removed everything. So even if I put some garbage on my ID, the software or this function or this logic will remove all the garbage and collect only the what? The integer. So I'm expecting an integer, so it will collect only an integer. So that is what I meant by typecasting. Otherwise, if I not do like this, if I not put this typecasting, so I would get this all garbage. Okay, so clean the data. So I've cleaned and make it sure that it's what's an integer. So after making sure that's an integer, so I can go ahead and put this integer here, okay, this ID here. So refresh, so everything is okay. But still you have a problem, right? Another problem is, What if someone gives you something that is out of the range? Our array, it has only like 4 things, but someone has given us maybe so many numbers. So you see, we get another error. So another error can be so another big thing. So another thing you have to check, is it set? So you can do another thing. So once you have collect the integer, another thing you just check if is set uh, the names and then this index. So you check if that index is set. So if it is not set, you stop the project from here, or you do another thing, maybe ID not found, like this. So if I refresh, I will never get an error, ID not found, but I'll get a response that is relevant. I put the correct one, gendo. I put the correct, I put right here, I put ID not found. I put 6, I attach some garbage, everything is all right. But otherwise, if I not do this, a few things here, cleaning the data, I would be getting errors every time I did a mistake because the data is coming from external. So that's why we are telling you, you need to be careful, clean the data, don't trust anything that is coming from outside. So it can be painful, but it is worth it. So now let us finally look at scripting, okay? So let me say, I'm telling here, let me remove these solutions. Let me comment them like this. I've commented this solution, okay? Um, that's okay. Let us do it in a lazy way. Get, and then we get the idea that stuff. Okay, so there we're doing it in a what? In a lazy way. So maybe I want to display someone's ID and his name like this. Okay, so I'm displaying someone's ID and their name. Okay, so I refresh. You see, Julian Doe and his name. Or I can just simply say maybe your ID is your ID is something like that. Okay, let's say that we are doing just that simple logic. Now we have written our software that tell people's ID. Can you see? We have written our beautiful software that tells people's ID. It can be anything. Now the guy, instead of doing like this, he come and do something like this. Instead of giving us an ID, he come and do something like this. Script. Okay. And then he's coding. So can you see? Person is coding. Instead of giving us the ID, he's writing code. Okay. So when you come to our link, can you see that? Okay, let me explain this again. I want you to be attentive because the last example will process like that. So I want I want to explain this one more time. So we have written our simple software that is doing what? That is displaying people's IDs from Gate, because we have seen Gate is very important. Okay, so it just tells you your ID is this. You do like this, your ID is this. Okay, so someone is going to hack our what? Our project. Okay, so instead of giving us the ID, what he's going to do, he's going to write the script like this. Just write script. So you can first even put uh, you can first write the link first, okay? So you see, we're expecting the ID to come from here, right? So if I do like this, everything is okay. Your ID is this one. So, but for me, instead of giving ID, because I know Java, because I know XSS, I'll just remove the ID. So this is your project, right? It is your project. Me, I know what I'm doing, and you also know what you're doing. So for me, instead of giving you the ID, I just go ahead and write script.
Teddy, is this a
Okay.
hen or a cook?
And then I
Look.
close the script like this. and then here I put my JavaScript. Okay, so this JavaScript, to show that it's going to be just a simple JavaScript that it's going to prove that you
Because
have
clearly it has features
can
of a
you
code.
mute your microphone
But people in the
and
comment
concentrate in
section,
class,
I
please?
like, oh, I like, I'm like so confused right now. Happy, mute your mic.
Please, if you're not following the class, mute your microphone at least. Okay. Okay. These guys. Guys, are you following anyway? Those who are following, are you there? Yeah, but
Yes.
okay. So
Yes.
okay,
Wait.
okay. All right. So here instead of me giving you the ID, I just give you JavaScript. And to prove to you that JavaScript can execute, I'm just going to show alert. Okay. So you know this one will display an alert on JavaScript, and then say we have hacked you. Okay. So I copy the link and I share it with someone on WhatsApp. So this link, okay, let us pause here before we even proceed. And you see how this one is really meaningful, can be really. So this link can you view a website maybe for you're an MP, you want you're contesting, you're doing like you're an MP, you're doing something, you're a public figure, maybe okay, it can be a bank system, it can be a school system, but you have such kind of what of mistakes. So someone writes a script and display anything on your what on your website. If you're a public figure, it shows things of your position, or it shows things that brings you down. If it is a school management system, he give people marks. He pay for people's school fees through what? Through JavaScript. Yet you did not intend to do that. So what I'm going to show here, I'm going to show our website right now, it is behaving as you're expecting. We give it an ID, it displays it. Okay? But we are going to hack it. It is going to behave in a way that we don't want, we did not expect it to do what we behave. How are we going to do it? We are going to pass, instead of ID, we are going to pass our simple JavaScript that is going to show our own thing. Right now, it can be a simple menu that has shown we have successfully executed JavaScript, but it can be really huge if you give it your full time and become a hacker in these things. Or if someone is his full job is just to write JavaScript that can be passed through links and manipulate the web page. So if I press enter, can you see that? We have hacked you. Was this one original in our website? Don't think that we wrote it here. It is not here, right? It is not here. So if I refresh, can you see? We have hacked you. I hope you can see that alert. Can you? I hope because can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So the whole point is we have manipulated someone's website. It is behaving in a way that it was not supposed to behave. So in this JavaScript, it can be something like hiding the whole page, can be asynchronous, start getting people's information and send it to your own server, etc. You can do as long as you have proved that through Git you can be able to execute a JavaScript code. Very, 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 very important. So that is so what would be so that is very important. That is very key. You should note it down. You should always remember about it when writing your project. I hope you have understood it. So we talked about encoding. So the better way to come against this, you can first check it, like the way we did here. Do you have a script, something like that, thing that we expect that is suspicious about? Check for those ones first. So one more thing, we talked about encode. So in PHP, we have what's called HTML encode. I don't know. HTML encode, I don't know. HTML encode. Yeah, HTML entities, I think that's on that encode. So you see, even though you send your dangerous script, PHP will treat it as a what? as an HTML. So even though you send your script, it will be displayed as a what? As a script. But if I was lazy and I don't surround this thing that is coming from the user, I don't surround it with this HTML in code, okay? What would happen? What would happen? The user would do what? Would execute his malicious JavaScript code that I did not intend for my website. But a simple hack like this, so it is in different programming language, HTML entities. So this one will treat it as the HTML, not as JavaScript or anything. It can save you from people manipulating your website. So I'm just exposing the user. This is not a JavaScript, but it is just a what? A simple HTML. But if I don't do that, then I'll end up having something weird like this. So that's it. Let us finish our slide and then you get some few questions and then take attendance, call it a day. I hope you've understood. So in conclusion, cross-site attack are serious security threats, as I've been saying, to web application. They are really serious. This is just a very small drop. They can result in theft of sensitive information, unauthorized access to users' accounts, and so many more. To protect your web application against cross-site attack, it's important to understand the vulnerabilities that can be exploited and implement approach security measure to mitigate them. And thank you for being part of this lecture up to this point. So start putting your registration names and ID into the chat. And in case there is any question, I will receive. Let me look at your comments as you're putting your chats. I see if you guys okay. Okay, put your message, your names and ID in the chat. All right. Can
Hello?
you try running website? Okay, okay, yes, hello. Ask something. Yeah. Or talk something or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. I was asking, what kind of attack is this? For example, when I'm developing a site and then all of a sudden I can't log into the cPanel again, like the details are now like they show me like invalid login. Yet I was the one developing it.
Hey.
Is it also
Okay, in that case, most of it happens when maybe the other people, the people who are hosting you have changed your logins, maybe because it has expired. Another way, it also happened to me, my password leaked. This password that you register in every website on every website. So some websites are not legit. They will create your password and they will try them on different servers. I mean on your different links. So they can access one of your link and then they change your what? Your password and then they own it. It also happened to me. Another way, your password can link through these browsers when you save your password automatically. So if someone has an application, it can link it to their websites. I mean, to them, and then they change them. So it is not a standard attack that is recognized. That is just a kind of negligence, and someone accesses your password and change it. Or it can be not. It cannot even be attack. Maybe the other people who are hosting you can change your passwords, maybe for some reasons. So the solution to that, just contact the people who are hosting you to do what? To give you the right password. They will have that ability to reset it for you. I hope I've answered you.
Yes, you've answered me. Then,
Mm.
apart from those who are hosting, in case that happens, do I have any way of changing the details? Or it's them?
It's them. For hosting, it's them who have to change for you the details. If you cannot access your account, that means you cannot change the details. It is hard.
Then also, is it normal, like every time, like, okay, after some time, those login details have to change? Or
they're not supposed to change every time. It are not supposed to change every time. But if it is happening, then it means that maybe the problem is your people who are hosting you, or they are the one who are doing it. So what you do, you just contact them and let them know what is the and let them tell you whether they are the one who are responsible, or it's not them who are changing it. Yeah, but there is no a defined way, like a standard way of that kind of attack. Maybe so there are different types of security vulnerabilities. So if your password leaks, ah, you have to figure how to get it back. But all I can advise you, just contact those people. They'll be able to generate for you a new password. Tell them the reason why. If it's them, then you'll know. If it's not them, then you'll find how you be much easier.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me have one gentleman and one lady, either question or remarks, and then we call it a day. Let us have a gentleman, remarks, or a question, or anything, or a compliment, and then we'll have also one more lady, and then okay, put your arm up, gentleman. Gentlemen, just want you to call to be part of it.
Hello.
Okay, so let's say something, yeah? Your name and say something.
My name is Semakula Peter Waswa. All I have to say is to appreciate you for your efforts and for really taking